It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. Pretty. Under the moonlight, you see a sight that almost stops your heart. You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it. Girl, front on my knees. Then terror leaves you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed. This Resident evil night. Cause I can do you more than Capcom could ever dare try. Ooh, evil night. You're fighting for your life from that tall lady. Oh yeah. Game Informer, March 2023, 3:53, Resident Evil 4. Let's do it to it. Alright, trying to make this fast again, so we're skipping right past the editorials. Going to page 10, the year in review, the yearly video game wrap-up. While we're at it, let's plug my card game wrap-up 2022 on my YouTube channel just a few days back. Check it out. Pretty nice if I do say so myself. Alright, so starting out, pretty much what happened with this is the PS5 and the Xbox Series X all dropped last year. They're still hard to find. They did not drop last year. They dropped 2 years ago, and they're still hard to find. The Steam Deck came out in 2022. The problem with it is that it had a limited battery life. Not as bad as Game Gear, though. Am I right? Dum. However that sound goes. But you know them old Game Gears. Horrible battery life. Alright, but January, Microsoft proposed that they would be interested in acquiring Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. That would be the biggest purchase in video game history. And then Activision, they own Activision Blizzard. They own IPs such as Overwatch, Warcraft, Diablo, Candy Crush, Call of Duty. All the big players. If they actually did complete that purchase, they would kind of be like a monopoly, and then it would kind of be unfair. So that deal is highly under the scrutiny of the Fair Trade Commission, the FTC. Last year also, Sonic 2 movie dropped. Sonic 2. Idris Elba was Knuckles. I haven't watched it yet. And then Uncharted 2, it had old boy from Spider-Man. Forget his name. Tom Holland, I believe. Yeah. And they were the 4th and 5th highest grossing video game films in history so far. And 2022 was also very nice to video games on TV. So Cyberpunk Edge Runners was the biggest thing going. Biggest video game anime, I guess, of the year. And then also Cuphead show was doing good. Dragon Age, Resident Evil, Sonic Prime, Halo TV show. They kind of got a lot of mixed reviews. And as far as the biggest games of the year, Elden Ring was huge. There was an Asmongold Gold video recently that dropped that said that Elden Ring only did so good because everything else sucks. And I hear like a lot of people complaining about the major studios. They just rehash games and rehash them forever, and indie games are where it's at. But still, Elden Ring was the biggest game of the year last year, and there's a lot to look forward to in 2023. The Last of Us show is highly acclaimed right now, and then we all wonder, will Wario be voiced by Danny DeVito in the movie? Let's see if Wario makes the movie. All right, anyway, skipping on to page 16. Okay, Professor Layton and the Mysteries of the Universe. This is pretty much the story of a young girl who was handed a Nintendo DS with this puzzle game, and that led to her career in astrophysics. I believe her name is Chloe Liebenthal. I believe that's what that is. Maybe she even wrote the article. Yeah. Right, going on to... Okay. Adapting The Last of Us to a new medium. So TV and video games are way different mediums. As far as writing and directing, because when you're shooting film, lighting changes, the actors need to do retakes and retakes. This show is a faithful adaptation with added additional context. Pedro Pascal uses a thick Texas accent for his character Joel, which is actually Australian. The Last of Us reverses the source material, but does a good job. Okay, so we got the apocalypse in games, playing in the Anthropocene. The Anthropocene. If you've ever heard of that $5 word, please let me know, because I have not until today. All right. So pretty much this article is talking about climate change. Cue Greta Thunberg. How dare you? After Us and The Rise in Floodland. These are 3 games that explore what if humans kept on messing up the earth. I think Jack and Daxter might even be post-apocalyptic from the look of their inclusion in the article. But Floodland is about if the sea level rises 30 to 45 feet, be, I guess, above where it is now. And After Us has a physical Gaia, like Captain Planet. And indie games lead the charge in cli-fi activism, but Horizon Forbidden West also touches on it too. Yeah, cover of the article. And Anthropocene is a new term scientists are using to define the new geological period for Earth. Kind of like that Ohio Lake chemical spill that we just had a few days ago. So, treat the Earth better, or we might be stuck in a crazy video game or something. Okay, the best board games of 2022. This list is pretty off, if I do say so myself. This is somewhat of a field of expertise of mine, but it has a lot of good inclusions. But what they're missing, though, definitely, number 1 is Ark Nova. They don't have Ark Nova, but what they do have is Ahoy. Pretty much another follow-up to Root by the Root makers. The Leader games, they started out pretty much big with the Vast game. I got that one. The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Haven't heard much talk about that, honestly. Frosthaven, yeah, that's a huge one. The follow-up to Gloomhaven. Fun Facts, party game. I haven't really heard of it, honestly. Heat, here, that's really good. Jurassic World, The Last of Isla Nublar. I've heard good things. My Father's Work, that's a great one. It's got an app implementation, worker placement. My Little Everdell, have not really heard too much about it, but I think they say it's good. Star Wars Clone Wars, that's just a pandemic skin. I believe Namji, like in 2012, Tokaido, Namji. Okay. It's a Kaido sequel, pretty good. I haven't really heard of Namaji, but need to check that out. And also they're also missing Wonderland's War. I hear that's real good. They're missing Flamecraft and Carnegie. Anyway, moving along. Our redesigning, reinvent, remake Resident Evil 4. Okay, RE4 set the template for every 3D. For every third-person game after 2005. The over-the-shoulder cam became the thing to do. Resident Evil 4 has been re-released on nearly every platform because it aged so well. The remake has increased player choice and flexibility. In the first cabin, there's more rooms to discover and more items to uncover. And it's a more spookier experience with darker atmosphere. And where's the merchant? Where? I'm looking for the merchant. Oh yeah, okay, right here, first page. And the merchant is back. And he talks a little bit more this time. The remake opts to do away with the antiquated QuickTime events. Knife parrying mechanics spices things up. But the knife is not too durable and it often breaks on you. But the merchant can make it stronger or, get you more knives. And you can control Ashley by pressing R3. There are new threats like a huge farmer that wears a severed bull's head. This guy right here. And then there are also other new threats, new enemies that weren't in the original. And all the puzzles are new or have a new twist to them to resolve. And the same Tetris equipment suitcase, but more customizable now. Alright, that's Resident Evil 4. Okay, in the top 10 games, they're, I guess, Game Informer's top 10 games of 2022. Starting off with Marvel Snap, with each match lasting only a few minutes and 12 cards per deck and 6 turns per game. Every decision is meaningful. I haven't played much of this, but one time I really need to get on it. But Tunic is a Zelda-inspired fictional language written in game texts. New puzzle adventure game, and the last puzzle is one of the greatest in video game history. Citizen Sleeper is where you're a digitized consciousness of a human implanted into a body designed to tirelessly work for a megacorp. But what happens when you say no to all that work? And this is a tabletop-esque RPG with predetermined dice rolls. Okay, number 7, we have Marvel's Midnight Suns. I've talked about this ad nauseum. You play cards, and every card is associated with the Marvel superhero on your team. And, you got to play your cards right. Kirby in the Forgotten Land has you now swallowing massive items like boats and cars. And this enables you to solve environmental challenges in wacky new ways. I know Kirby's not going to swallow that whole skyscraper. That would just be crazy. Alright, Immortality. Telling 5 different stories all out of sequence at the same time. Like when I watched the bootleg Banderdash on the computer that was just out of control. And I really didn't understand the story. But this game is about the love of filmmaking and women's role in film, cynical nature of art, and it can seem narcissistic, but it's up to your taste if you're going to like that. Neon White, another card game, kind of mixed with some parkour action, and it's been a big year for the card games, coming back. Oh yeah. Alright, number 3, Vampire Survivors. This is a bullet hell where I think you got to survive for 30 minutes. And then it's only $5, so get up on it. I should get up on it. And only has one $2 DLC out so far. Okay, then we got number 1 game of the year, they say. No. Number 2 game of the year. God of War Ragnarok. Kratos and his son. Get here, boy. Come here, boy. Shut up, boy. Alright, then we got Elden Ring. Number 1 from Software. Killed it with this one. The Souls-like to end all Soul-likes as far as 2002 is concerned. Game of the year. Right, then we got the Reader's top 10 games of the year. Starting with number 10, Pokemon Legends of Arceus, Kirby in the Forgotten Land, Vampire Survivors, COD, Modern Warfare 2, Tunic, A Plague Tale Requiem, Strayed, number 4, Horizon Forbidden West, and Elden Ring, and switched up to God of War for the #1. Alright. Best and brightest. Feeling Unstoppable, Vampire Survivors, the Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Norco. Need for Speed Unbound, Sonic Frontiers for the editor's pick. Best developer, Epic Games. Splatoon coming through, Splatoon 3. As Dusk Falls, Roller Drum, Radahan, Elden Ring, Bayonetta 3, the editor's pick. TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, that was big. Tinykin. The Modern Warfare 2, Rogue's Legacy 2, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. A lot of picks, a lot of stuff. Lego Star Wars, Skywalker Saga, and Atari 50, the Anniversary Collection. Here, that's real good. Plague Tale Requiem, Multiverses, free to play. Get up on it. Pentiment. I've heard very good things. Okay, and on to the previews. Death Stranding 2, where Daryl of The Walking Dead is back, but this time he's got a head of gray hair. Trailer ends with the text, "Should we have connected?" Questioning the premise of the first game. Shows you have united the now united cities of America, and there's no release date, but it's coming out on PS5 whenever it comes out. Alright, Inkbound. In this universe, all the worlds come from books, but the books have been ripped up by a villain, and it's now your job to piece the books back together. This is an RPG where there's a large circle in which you're free to move about, but as you move, you lose points. Or you can stand still and use all your points to just attack. So you gotta be tactical about this. It's mostly a tactics type of gameplay. Like, Final Fantasy Tactics. Alright, then we got Tachia. Tachia, you can turn into almost anything in a lush, realistic, surreal, tropical locale. And this is coming out in 2023 on PS4, 5, PC. And you go around accomplishing missions as you transform into stuff. Right there, your turtle. Right there, your coconut. What's up, Wilson Castaway? Yeah. Okay, then we got Hades 2. Kronos is the big bad this time. The combat is different in Hades 2, and it's unclear if any of the 6 old weapons will return. But right now we have 2 weapons that are confirmed. But you won't need to know how to play Hades 1 to enjoy the sequel. No release date, but it's coming out on PC. Okay, Gravity Circuit. This is a slick retro action game of the likes of Mega Man and Ninja Gaiden. You do punch combos, you do uppercuts, and different kind of kicks. And you have a grappling hook to swing across gaps and to take out enemies. And your guy is upgradable like Mega Man to be able to double jump, to downward slide, to wall jumping. And this one is coming out in 2023 on PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Yeah, get a kind of look at that crazy melee action. Looks like he's kind of punching Samus right there. Alright, then we're looking at Mika in the Witch's Mountain, where you're playing as a young witch who uses her broom to do most of everything. You pretty much run people's errands, you help them out, the local townsfolks, and you deliver their packages and do their chores. Okay, we have Judas, which is a spiritual successor to BioShock. Don't know, like, if you're really under the sea in this one, but looks like a lot of that kind of crazy robot noir action going on. Looks interesting. Wish I would have finished BioShock. I can still do that. I got that still in there. But when will I get to it? Alright, PGA Tour. pulling out all the stops and trying to be the most realistic thing on the market. PGA Tour. Okay, Wolong, the Fallen Dynasty. This uses a unique morale system, and you restore your morale by defeating the enemies that took you out, if any ever take you out. This has hype-inducing cutscenes, and it brings the action to you rather than you having to look for the action. Action packs. Alright, then we got Armored Core 6, Fires of the Rubicon. Surprisingly, this is being done by From Software, from Elden Ring fame. And the last Armored Core game was way back in 1997, something like 25 years ago. So, it will be interesting to see how this plays out. Alright, then we got Fire Emblem Engage. This is a combat first and everything else second RPG. Fire Emblem Engage. Engage's characters and social systems never quite hit the high bar set by Three Houses, but it does surpass its predecessor in almost every other way. Players looking for deep customization, expertly crafted strategy RPG combat, and a heartfelt story with adoration for more than 30 years of Fire Emblem history will find that and more in Engage. Right, that was a review actually, and that one got a 9. Okay, One Piece Odyssey. Oh yeah, deep customization in the Fire Emblem Engage, and each unit can wear an emblem ring to engage or tap into the Fire Emblem's past, and it's an expertly crafted strategy RPG. 50-hour game, last third has a bunch of twists, turns, and drama and heart. Yeah. Alright, okay, One Piece Odyssey. It has wholly original content, doesn't just rehash the old story, the 1,000-episode story from the anime, and splitting the Straw Hat crew into micro battles. So this one got a 7.5. Right, Forspoken, game about movement and running, but unfortunately, like, it has some underwhelming dialogue, and it's kind of overly vulgar, and it has a hit and miss story and combat. Got a 7.5. Pretty good, but not the best though. Alright, Chained Echoes. This is a modern day classic JRPG in the vein of Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger. Got an 8.75, something to check out. The Little Gator game, 8.5. By the time the story wrapped up, the game had delivered a poignant and touching message about balancing the important parts of our lives. Little Gator game isn't the best Zelda-like I've played, but it's probably the one that will stick out for me the longest. 8.5. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider won't go down as one of the greats that both embrace the past and modernizes the action, but I would place it closer to the fantastic side on the scale, even if it doesn't quite make it all the way. Got a 7.75. Alright, Sports Story, 6.5. Even if Sports Story was polished and bug-free, it would still fall strikingly short of the first title in the series. The new sports don't play well, the fetch quests are tiresome, and the story is tedious and less charming than that of Golf Story. Dragon Quest Treasures, 6.25. The experience is driven by charm and nostalgia, but if you don't have an existing appreciation for the series, there isn't much here that I could recommend over most other open world role-playing games. High on Life, 5.75. Those swings for the fences on presentation and tone, the mediocre action, grating humor, and dialogue, and less than amusing technical hiccups made me want to keep the sentient guns in their holsters. Oh yeah, I remember them talking about that game, I think. Sentient guns. Alright. Second to last blurb in here. Alright, behind the magic of MMO localization. Language localizers need to consider puns, references, sayings, and cultural jokes. Surprising, complex, and detailed. This is surprisingly complex and detailed to be a localizer of languages in MMOs. Okay, so like if you throw like a peace sign in the US, we all know that's a peace sign. But in Ireland and Australia, they see you throwing up a V. Then they're like, what is a V? So, you know, you got to know a lot of stuff. And like in China and Asian cultures, skeletons are bad luck and bad omens. So you can't include you can't include skeletons in certain games. So a lot to be on top of being a localizer. Not the easiest job. All right. And then most inescapable game, which I have somehow escaped. Except for in advertisements. I've actually played a similar game in advertisements. All right. So full disclosure. The final award on the final page of the year-end roundup issue is for a game that did not release in 2022. Developer Josh Wardle released Wordle at the tail end of 2021, but its popularity crested in 2022 before the New York Times purchased it. Whether you loved Wordle as a daily distraction or despised it while wading through colored blocks on your social media platform of choice, there's no denying that Wordle made an impact. Gamers and non-gamers alike found joy in its simple letter guessing mechanics, and it was frankly quite impossible to ignore. All right, so there's been Game Informer 353. Yeah, Resident Evil. Check back with me next month, in about a month, for the next Game Informer. Oyo Games, like, comment, subscribe, and Tuvok.